Hey everybody, welcome to the newly branded We Are Podcast, formerly Quack Attack 5000. Today's episode, We Are Air Season 3, Episode 19, Firedcast, in which me and my friends, well, we got shit canned. If this is your first time listening, thank you so much for checking out the channel. Please head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, and give us a like. And if you have a chance, check out our social media. All links can be found in the description. With that, on to the Firedcast.
We are rarer.
Y'all see my titties? Y'all want my titties? Look at these nips. Not tease.
Show them nips, dog.
No, bitch.
Show your fucking
Not
nips.
unless they fucking pay.
Be a fucking man.
We're opening our Patreon, low battery. Your phone got bugged.
Yeah.
Just show them titty nipples.
Hey everybody, welcome to the We Are Air podcast. This is Duck. I'm here with
Jake.
and
Javi.
And we are live in person for the first time in a long time. And I am super fucking excited to be here with my brothers, especially today, March 14th, 2020, because me and Jake
And Javi.
got fired.
We all got fired.
In the last week,
Firedcast.
we got fired.
We got fired. We're jobless. We are officially unemployed. This is the longest stretch of time I've ever gone unemployed. It's weird.
I'm melting,
yeah, same here.
I'm
This is,
melting
like,
through the
not
floor
my
right
choice.
now. I don't know what happened in the last 20 minutes, but I am melting through this floor.
Good.
Okay, listen. We got fired. I got fired today. Jake got fired today. Javi got fired last week. We are all officially unemployed.
I know. I usually have 2 jobs. I don't have a single job to my name right now.
Jake, how about you?
We're a strain on society, my friend.
Let us be a strain because, listen, it wasn't my fault I got fired. I don't think it was your fault you got fired, and I don't think it was your fault you got fired.
No.
I think we were unjustly fired in many, many ways. But the bottom line is, it's Corona time. We're going to be okay. We're going to be positive. We're going to find something, and we're going to plow through this and move forward.
Of course.
With a podcast about being fired. Firedcast 2020. This year has not gone the way I thought it would go.
Oh, man.
Cue fire sound effects.
Yes.
You may actually end up getting a job a lot quicker than I thought.
Oh, yeah?
Hey, it might happen. So here's the bottom line. We all got fired from our jobs. It's heartbreaking. There's no denying that. Especially Jake losing his job, no denying. He loves working at a comedy club. But the bottom line is we're going to be okay. So we're going to have a cast about previous jobs, anything that's happened beyond this, that we've lost our jobs, and just kind of laugh it off and have a good time. So let's talk about Firedcast. Let's go back. Let's get in the time machine to our jobs in the past. Have you guys ever been fired before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about some times that you've been fired in the past. Let's start with Jake. Jake, what is the first job you've ever been fired from?
I want to say Stadium.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that was the first job, though, right?
So, no, that wasn't my first job.
Okay, what was the first job?
My first job that I ever worked?
Uh-huh.
Building electrical parts for my uncle in his shed for his electrician company. He owned a company called Apple Electric. And me and my cousin would sit in there and we'd splice wires and put them into, like, outlet things. I don't know exactly what they were used for at the time. I was just getting paid, like, fucking $5 an hour just to make a bunch of these things. I was 13 or 14. I don't know. After that, I worked at Tippin's Pie Pantry restaurant. Now I started working at a Stadium after that.
Okay, so skating was the second job. How long were you there before you got shit canned?
I think about 2 years.
And what happened to get you fired? You don't have to go into details if they're brutal, but were you fucking on the job?
Yeah, it was a bunch of things like that. Just not. It was just not taking it seriously.
How
Just
old were you?
fucking
You were
around.
just a,
Yeah.
you were a baby.
I started whenever I was 16,
Right.
and I was 18 whenever I got fired.
And so was it a real bummer when it happened?
Of course.
Yeah.
The first time always fucking sucks. Well, every time it fucking
Oh,
sucks.
it always sucks,
Yeah,
dude.
it doesn't-
Every time.
Doesn't not suck. Well, I mean, there has been a couple times like, yeah, fuck you. I was
Yeah.
trying to get fired. Like, I had one of those also.
All right, we'll definitely get to that. How about you, Hobbs? What was the first time you were fired? Let go.
Believe it or not, the first time I was ever
Believe
fired
it or not, you
just
got
got
fired.
was the Improv.
Really? That was your first time getting fired?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's why you took it pretty hard, huh?
I took that shit so hard,
You
man.
did, man.
Yeah.
I know you did.
It was brutal.
The
So-
first time's always rough.
Yeah, so what was that like?
Well, I was at my other job, and we had in that weekend, and like all throughout this fucking week, we would have meetings like 2 weeks before get your friends in here. We'll fucking help you out. Just like spread the word about. We need to fill this weekend up with fucking bodies.
It ended up rocking though.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that weekend, he had a really good weekend when people showed up and shit. I was really happy to see. But, like, during that weekend on a Saturday night, and both gave me big fucking compliments, and pretty much said, not here, and whenever not there, him will tell me if they say they're on the fucking list, just let them through. Don't hold the list line and have us to come back out here. So, I was just going by around, and I just did whatever. Alright, you're with okay, you're on this list? Alright, enjoy the show.
Yeah.
If they would purchase VIP tickets, I was always told that I could, like, if they have the VIP pass or the card, essentially, they could go at a VIP table if they have a VIP group that they're being part of for some reason. And then, like, they came at me, like, later on that week, like, hey, we saw what you did this weekend. And they just kept blowing up my phone, and I was just like 3 separate conversations, and at the last one, I just fucking had it. I just said, listen, you guys have been wanting to fire me for a while now, so I want this conversation to end right now, and if that ends with you terminating me, then let that be it, and I hung up. So I called back, let's do this. And he goes, do you want to do it in person or do you want to do it over the phone? I was like, I think you want to do it over the phone. He was like, okay, I'm going to have to let you go, Javi. I'm sorry. I was like, no, you're not. And I just hung up.
Damn. Alright, so the first time I was fired, I was working for Eaton Park in Clarion, Pennsylvania. I was working the midnight shift. I was the only server. It was one of my favorite jobs. It was after my first breakup. Very emotional. I was a fucking wreck of a human being at that point. That job really did save me. It was my one thing that kept me together. And when I became a server, I was the only server on the overnight. Now, it's a small college town. All the kids would come in, and I would be the only server on, and they all be drunk, and I'd have a fucking blast, and I'd be duck. I'd be super ecstatic and just having a good time and making like $150 a night from these drunk college kids. There were regulars that came in, and I was giving them free drinks. I'll admit to it. It's whatever. I don't care. It's like 15, 20 years now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they can get me. I don't think I'm liable. But I'm
pretty sure we've all
Like,
been there.
are you going to get a call like tonight from your former manager? Like, I knew it.
Well, they rehired me, so it's not a big deal. So I was giving away some free drinks, and sometimes I'd pay for them, sometimes I wouldn't. You know how it works. And they ended up firing me because of that. Like, the guy that turned me in, his name was and he was so gay.
It was a
Harvey Fires.
He was like, that duck is just no good. And I don't know why he hated me. Like, I did anything he said. I was a great fucking employee. Just occasionally give away a free cappuccino. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And he ended up going to management and being like, yeah, you need to fire him. And they did. And the lady who fired me, ooh, she had so much shit on her. They ended up firing her. She was nuts. She was embezzling money and fucking the manager.
Where is this? What place was this?
Small town, Pennsylvania. I know, we gotta go. We gotta go.
Which store was this?
It was Eaton Park in Clarion, Pennsylvania, just so everyone knows. And they ended up hiring me back about 7 years later as a server, too. So it was fine. So I ended up getting hired back because I was a great server, great employee. But that was the first time I was fired. That was my first job. And it hurt. It did. And at that time, that's when I got the girlfriend who was, I always say I was a prisoner of love. She got me, and then she kept me in her apartment, and I could never leave. It was so fucked up. And that's a story for another time, but it was hysterical. Jake, did you ever get fired from any other jobs?
Yes.
Oh, good sir. Dive in. You can share.
Well, improv, obviously.
So that was the second one.
No. Not before that. I got fired off of a job. I kept my job, but I was doing still work. And I got fired off of a job because of something that I did. Like, I lost a contract. I felt really bad about this. It wasn't much. We weren't doing, like, too much there. It was a couple of handrails, everything else, but they didn't want us after what happened. We were working at this school being built in Birdville. I had a crew with, like, 2 or 3 guys. We took the work truck out there. Hour and a half drive from where we were at, Alvarado, getting over to Birdville. We get on the job site. We're working all day. It's about a 5-day job. And come day number 3, it's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And mind you, whenever I was doing still work, like, I was drinking nonstop. Like, we would get 40s and shit, drink them all throughout the day. We'd just hide it, got to the fucking truck and drink them and shit. We're working long days, doing all kinds of other shit that we probably shouldn't be doing. And it was getting towards the end of the work day, And I remember, like, needing to fucking take a piss, but I was, like, in the center of where the school was being built, and all the porta potties were outside the job site, you know, and the shit's still being put together. I was like, okay, fuck this. So I fucking went to go find the most secluded room I could find, and I just took a piss in there. And there was somebody in the next room, and they saw the piss leaking under because I didn't fill the baseboards yet. Like, it's still being built. Like, you can't hide anything in there. The guy peeks his head around the corner. I was like, I waved at him. Like, hey, it's no big deal, man. I really had to go. You know? It's like, he just kind of nodded his head.
And he reported you?
Oh, yeah. Next day, we're out there working. See, like, these fucking 4 dudes walking up with me in fucking ties with hard hats on and shit. I'm like, man, fuck
Well,
these
time out.
idiots.
You got fired for taking a piss.
Yeah, but it's inside of a work area with a shit ton of other people. You know, that's not, like, sanitary. I just wasn't thinking.
Whatever. I mean,
It's not like
in my head, it sounded like
outside.
the construction wasn't completed. You were allowed to take a piss there.
That's what I thought
one of the
also.
rules of the road.
I didn't think that, but I was like, who's gonna fucking know?
Right.
I don't think somebody's in the next fucking room. I told you, we're fucking drinking and fucking doing stuff. all
Oh,
day.
yeah, dude. I imagine those work sites are a fucking party and a
Yeah.
half.
No, they're not.
No,
I
no.
mean, it's all work, but I mean, the people that are working are like fucking working, okay? Like, stay the fuck out of my way, bro. I'm getting shit done. Like, it's not a party by any means. It's like, you don't fucking touch me! Don't look at my hand!
Hobbs.
Stay away from my welding rig.
Hobbs, what was the second job you got fired
The
from?
backpack place.
Ooh, what happened here?
Alright. The way the main sales office was set up, it was me, the logistics manager, and essentially the VP of sales. I was a sales manager. And the VP of sales was this douchebag named he was just always a fucking dick, and for some reason he always was like kind of threatened by me. And it was just weird. He had, like,
Was it your Coke can cock?
I don't think it was my cocaine cock. I think it was the fact that I was like super charismatic and people really liked me and fucking hated him. Like the owner's sister fucking loved me. She was like, "Yeah, I fucking love you, Javi." Him, not so much. And she did that when she came to visit the office. She did that shit straight up in person. I really like you, Javi. Him, not so much. Didn't even fucking look at him. Just went, not so much, and continued talking to me. I was like, I fucking love you. He was very cowardly. He would, whenever he had an issue with me, he would always go to. He never brought anything to my face personally. You have something to say to me? He just said that you had a lot to say about me. He didn't even fucking look at me. He just kept looking down.
I didn't.
And I was like, okay. And I just sat back and did my job. And like, one day in October, he calls me, and I saw this one day. I was like, he's going to go complain about me getting fired today. I looked at the lease, he's like, I'm going to get fired today. She goes, yeah, running your name through the mud. I was like, fuck. Oh, well. I was miserable there, and I was depressed every fucking morning.
Right.
So calls me, and I'm like, are you going to fire me? He goes, well, yes, Hal. And then he like teared up and shit, like giving me the rundown as well. It's just, you know, you can't be saying forever. You know that? I'm okay with being fired because, frankly, I'm done with this company. I got a job today, so I'm going to be happy. I want to be all right. Because that afternoon on my lunch break, I kind of went, fuck this shit. Went on the job interview, and they said, can you start Monday? I was like, fucking I can start Monday. So I went back. Turns out fucking knew something was, he knew something was wrong because I never do that. He closed the fucking door and locked himself in the office.
Ooh.
Because he thought I was going to do something. So I go up to the owner and I'm like, hey, I want to thank you for everything. Today's my last day. I'm not coming back. He goes, why are you quitting so fast? I gave you time through the holidays to work. He's like, no, I'm already done. Like, I already got myself a job. It pays better than you could ever afford me. And then I just fucking just told him, he shook my hands. I'm really proud of you. I'm happy for you. Good luck, Javi. Like, thanks, boss. I fucking booked it.
So you technically didn't get fired. You quit.
No, he said, you're going to get fired. I'm just going to give you some time to find another job. Okay. Little did he know it was going to be like 2 days later.
Damn,
Wow.
dude, that is quick.
Great turnaround.
And then you went to that job and you didn't like it, and then you found another job, which you eventually got fired. We'll talk about it here in a minute. All right, my second job I got fired from, I worked for this place in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, where you took care of people with intellectual disabilities. I'll use the proper term right now. And I worked for this house, and the people I took care of were absolutely amazing. There was 3 clients in the house. 2 of them actually lived in that terrible fucking sanitarium in New York where they hosed them down and didn't take care of them. The one that Geraldo Rivera actually...
Bellevue?
Yes, was actually the one that would open that up. And they went and they ended up in Pennsylvania living there. I can't say their names, but I will say that one of them was hysterical because he only said 2 things. He would go, I want a big hoagie. 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 I want pizza? $9.95. $9.95. And that's all he would say. The other guy would lived with him for like 40 years. Like, you know what a big hoe is. You don't need a big hoe is. And the guy was great because we'd go to church every Sunday and people would be singing their hymns and he'd be like, bah, 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 bah. And people would be just praising with him. He was amazing. So I took care of these guys on the weekends along with another autistic guy. And it was great, and I enjoyed working there. But the house manager, whatever you want to say, because you live in residential houses, the normal house is just like everyone else or apartments. You go in, you're just there 24/7 to see if they need anything, take care of them, cook their meals, make sure they take baths, make sure they take their medicine. And everything was great, except for the house manager hated me. And the reason she hated me is my best friend Ben worked there before me, and she hated Ben with a passion. She despised him.
Fucker.
I don't know what it was. I still to this day have no idea. But when I got hired there, first thing she said was, "So you're friends with Ben?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, he's my best friend. We've been friends forever." She's like, "Yeah, can't stand him." I was like, "Ooh, it's going to be interesting."
Then she's like, "Well, fuck Ben."
Yeah, did I say best friend? I
never heard of
I was talking ironically.
Yeah,
of course I hate that guy.
I
He's
guess
a dick.
Oh yeah, he's my best friend.
And she was afraid of confrontation, so she would write these long-ass notes, and she, like a woman, I'll say it, would make these decisions where she wanted this, and this done that made no fucking sense. Then we would do it, and then she would be mad about that, and then she would change her mind, this, and this would have to be done. It was a fucking mess. And eventually, I would work 16-hour shifts, go home for 8, come back for 16. And on those 16-hour shifts, I'd usually watch Law & Order Special Victims Unit because there's nothing better to do.
Yeah.
And occasionally, while watching Elliot Stabler, who was a badass, I would fall asleep, which is a big no-no. And she came in one morning, and I happened to fall asleep for a little bit of time because it's boring as fucking a 16-hour shift. And she went to town on me. So they called me in. Yeah, big time. So they called me into the office, and they gave me this huge, like they read me Miranda rights. Like, it was insane. And finally, they're like, did you do this, and this? And I was like, no, because I hadn't. They're like, well, we need you to sign the paper. I was like, but I didn't do those things, so I refuse to sign that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, what about this? And I was like, nope, that never happened either. It was the big one was the client had said I'd shaved his eyebrows off. I had not shaved his eyebrows off. It was insane. So it was like,
threaded them.
And at the end, it was like, and do you agree that you shaved off this person's eyebrows? I was like, no, I did not. And then they're like, well, you need to sign this. I was like, I refuse to sign that because nothing. I said I agree with this. You caught me sleeping.
Fucking lawyer present.
Yeah, exactly. I slept for a half hour. I woke up. 16-hour shift is a long time. And that's it. I said, the rest of this is all lies.
Yeah.
And I said, I refuse to sign this. Like, well, you're fired. I was like, well, I figured that. Why are we still here?
Why do I need to sign this? What is this?
So
to
I
make
left,
you feel better?
I left the meeting, and I called my other job that I had at the time, which was another place taking care of intellectually disabled people. And I said, hey, Mike, who was my manager, I said, I just got fired from this place. Can I work more? He's like, you can have as many hours as you want. So, and it was a way better company, too. So I just worked like 70, 80 hours there a week.
I can just imagine your manager just like shaving the eyebrows of the mentally handicapped. Just like, fuck Dave, I'm going to give him back this motherfucker. Stop moving! Piece of shit.
That's exactly what I never even considered that until now. She was trying to get me. Total setup.
Yeah.
Hold still. So that was the second job I was fired from. Jake, have you ever quit a job in an epic manner?
I think the worst thing that happened was whenever I was still work for a different company, my cousin's company. I was living recklessly at the time, and I didn't have insurance on my car, and I was driving a 2011 Volkswagen GTI Turbo. That thing was fucking the shit. I love that car. It was a rainy day, and I was hauling ass home, really traffic-sized on the highway. And I'm maneuvering in and out, and I thought it was the shit. I've had the car for a while and whatever else. And I fucking rear-ended this fucking dude, and I totaled my fucking car almost. I mean, if it wasn't quite totaled, I was able to drive it home. That's a good 10 miles. Didn't have insurance. Yeah. And I just got in a bad breakup with my old lady. So, I mean, it was just one thing after another. So I was living at my parents' house. They were fucking pissed because I didn't have insurance. Thankfully, the guys that I hit were shady as fuck also. They were driving this brand new like fucking Honda Accord, and as soon as they got hit, they both jumped out. They went to the truck and started putting on these jumpsuits that looked like work jumpsuits. What? Like, they looked like they were supposed to be on the job somewhere doing something.
Oh,
like with the
no
fucking
way.
Yeah, so they put on these fucking jumpsuits, and it's like, hey man, I ain't got no insurance. They're like, fuck! Like, I don't think they did either.
Maybe they were trying to get out of that work insurance. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just like, but nothing came from it at all. I didn't have to pay out insurance to them or anything else. Like, it didn't matter if they was trying to get work insurance or if they were trying to get their regular insurance. They didn't have it. So like, okay, little blessing right here. So if I could drive that hunk of shit home from there, it's smoking up the entire time. Like, it's pouring down rain. I'm like, shit, I got this it's all the alignments all off. I'm like, motherfucker.
But you got it back.
I make it home.
Yeah.
And thankfully I had some money stored up. Even though I didn't have insurance, I was able to get it fixed outright after that. But that was what happened, though. It was a Volkswagen, so it took forever to get out of the shop. So, like, it was in there for, like, 2 months. My dad was like, I'm not going to fucking drive you to Alvarado from Arlington every morning so you can do your fucking job. You fucked up, so you got to do what you got to do. So I had to call my cousin who owned the business. Hey, man, sorry, I cannot come into work anymore. He's like, are you fucking kidding me? I've been working there for 6 years. I've done a lot of shit there. Like, so he was like, are you fucking kidding me? He's like, I put up with 9 miles of shit with your ass. I was like, dude, it's not like I want to fucking do this, okay? I don't have any other option. Do you want to come pick me up? It's like, fucking motherfucker. Hung up the phone. Needless to say, family gatherings were a little awkward for the next couple of years after that shit. Like, fucking Christmas and Thanksgiving. Like, hey, what's up, man? You know,
Hey, that wasn't your fault.
I mean, it was. Yeah, I was being careless. I was trying to speed my ass home.
Hobbs,
Yeah.
you don't have any epic way that you ever quit a job?
No.
Never?
No.
Never been epic?
Oh, the job that I left the backpack place for.
Yeah, that's
I lasted 4 days at that fucking place.
So 4 days there.
Monday to Thursday. Thursday was my last day.
And this motherfucker shows up at my job and it's like, by the way, I quit. I'm like, why, Javi? Why? But why was the reason you quit? It was unorganized, right?
The drive was like in North Irving. Like, it was brutal. It was a brutal fucking drive. It was unorganized. I could barely understand my boss or his wife. They were like, I wanted to say they were from the Middle East, but they would speak English. There was like a little bit of a Russian flair. And it was very fucking
So what,
thick.
were they sleeper cells or something?
I have no idea what the fuck they were.
You
Either
saw
way,
these backpacks, my friend.
Don't
it was
worry.
kind of like that.
These backpacks are nice.
Yes.
They're very
Is
nice.
that very nice?
They were like, Javi Baba. It was like...
Javi Baba.
And it was just super fucking unorganized. I thought, oh, this is going to be a fucking cakewalk. Fucking $14 an hour, and I get to just fucking fuck off and do nothing. Let me tell you something. Granted, I did a lot of nothing at that job, because they didn't give me any direction, but it is soul-crushing to do nothing for that long. I was like, I can't do this no more. So I was like, I walked up to the, I was like, listen, thank you for everything, but this is going to be my last day. I don't think I'm going to be coming back. And he just looked super defeated because, like, 2 other people quit on him earlier that morning, too. And he's like, this place.
In my mind, you were in a deep dungeon somewhere. Like, when you told the story before and, like, you were just being whipped or something like that. You're just like, boy.
No, they were. No, he was
it.
fucking nice. I mean, both him and his wife were nice. All the coworkers were nice. It was just, like, the lack of anything to do.
Comrade Javi, would you not like selling backpacks?
Quick question.
It's not for you. You've not sold much this week. It was 50,000 last week. This week we have, 12.
Quick question. Would you bang my wife?
She had the most fucked up
You
teeth.
fuck my wife.
You fuck my wife, you keep
No,
your job.
no, I know fuck wife.
Hey.
You fuck my wife, you keep
Wife
your
has
job.
fabric on teeth. No, thank you.
She had the zipper teeth.
Motherfucker. You have
She
problem.
legit had cotton mouth.
You have problem with my wife's teeth.
That's
You
why
say
I need
my,
you-
No, Emil, no, bro.
my wife not good enough for you to fuck. I fuck ugly lady. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
You would not fuck my wife.
No, bro. I'm sorry. I can't.
To me, she beautiful. To
Oh.
you, she troll.
You also got cataracts in both eyes.
I want.
You have problem with wife's cock eyes.
You put your cock in her eyes.
Yes, it's cock eye.
You take care of
For
it.
a reason, you know
Listen,
what I'm saying?
I hire you to fuck her, okay?
Hey, you.
Javi Baba, get on it.
Javi Baba no have sex with that.
Yeah.
All right, so
Javi Baba has standards.
I was,
Pasimia Palimia.
Hey everybody, it's just Duck jumping in here real quick saying thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you're enjoying it, head on over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give us a like. And if you have a chance, check out all of our social media. Links can be found in the description. You can find us at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at /WeArePodcast. Also, go to Facebook and join the We Are Error group. Jake and Javi will let you in there. With that, back to the podcast. So I was working at this place, and this one actually haunts me to this day. Well, alright, so I lived in Greensburg. I moved back to Clarion, Sligo, Pennsylvania. And I'd been working up for this company I worked for previously. And I left on good terms. Everything was great. 2-week notice, blah, blah, blah. So I went back, and they ended up putting me in this house. It was taking care of intellectually disabled people. Once again, I do this job for a long time. The house they put me in, really awkward, I'm going to tell this story, was I was in a band when I was a kid. And the person I was in a band with, we had a big falling out because he fucked my brother's wife. And I did not like that. I was like, you probably shouldn't be fucking my brother's wife, okay? It's fine. But I was like, me and you, we're no longer friends. So, 10 years later, end up at this house. He's there. And I mean, we were cool.
As a patient?
No, he's the house supervisor, right?
Oof.
So, I go in, and his supervisor comes to me and goes, hey, David, I need you to clean the client's room. I was like, okay, I can do that. And he's like, okay, well, can you do it today? I was like, yeah, that's no problem. So, never been in this house before. Walk in, my old bandmate, my old friend sitting there. I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? It's good to see him. Because I like this guy a lot, right? I really did. So I go upstairs, and I get into this room, and this room is just covered in clutter and shit and piss and semen and anything that is disgusting you can imagine. And it has drenched into the floor of his room to the point where it was linoleum, and there was playing cards on the floor, and he had pissed on them so much that they were like decals. I pulled them off, and the pictures of the baseball players were in the floor. Now, mind you, not only is this...
like silly putty, bro.
Dude, it was insane, yes. Not only is this morally wrong, but this is illegal.
Yeah.
Okay?
Ethically, morally...
everything.
OSHA.
So I'm cleaning this, and I'm just like, I gotta quit. I can't work for a company that allows this to happen.
I'm gonna finish.
I'm going to jail. I start jerking off on it. So I cleaned the entire room. I called up the house manager above my old friend, and I say to him, I was like, same thing I just said to you guys, like, it's ethically wrong, this is morally wrong, and it's illegal. I cannot work for a company that allows this to happen. Well, we need you to come into the office on Monday and have a meeting with the owners of the company. I was like, sure. Uh-oh. So I leave, and I'm like, y'all, take care, this sucks. And I go in and have this meeting with the owners of the company. And so they had a big, long conversation where they basically begged me not to report it to the state. They're like, we know you've worked for other companies. We know that you know what you're doing. Like, they never said, hey, don't report it. They never offered me money or something. And this company, knowing them, they probably would have if I pushed it. But I was just like, you guys need to fix this. Like, that is not cool at all. Like, this guy, yeah, he might be a troublesome client, but, like, he does not deserve this. All right, we'll take care of it. I was like, well, I quit. Hands down, like, I refuse to work for you guys. So I leave. Then I find out 6 hours later they fire my old friend, which is not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted.
He should have done his fucking job.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's not what I wanted. And they ended up firing him, and I felt like the biggest piece of shit, because regardless of what history we had, I did not want that.
Right.
7 years later, he gets his revenge by fucking my first girlfriend and dating her for a while. And I was just like, you win, good sir. You win.
Bitch.
Vengeance is a real bastard.
You shitty, pissy motherfucker.
It hurt for a minute. Like 3 days. You guys remember when I went through this. And I was just like, fuck it.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually kind of impressed with you in that story.
Why?
I don't know, I think it kind of shows your true character. Because you could be like, give me some money, I'll shut the fuck up.
Right. Oh, no.
Yeah, your first instinct was,
exactly.
That's not
you gotta fix this. This is not right.
Yeah.
I mean,
most of the pieces, you're like, well, give me some money.
Is that surprising to you? He's one of the best people I fucking know.
No, I'm just complimenting. I think it's fucking admirable.
But that's why I say it's the greatest, because I actually got to make a change, but then I feel bad too because they fired him.
Well, you know what? He should
soul
have
for a soul.
Change also. Like he turned a blind eye to the shit that he knew that was going on.
Well,
also.
The other thing is, I heard from my brother, who was still his best friend. He said that he actually appreciated being fired because it forced him to find something else.
Humble somebody also.
Exactly.
Yeah, somebody has to learn the hard way sometimes.
Exactly. But it's still this day, I always feel bad about that because that's not what I wanted.
But that also speaks volumes of your character also.
I'm not trying to build me up. I'm just high and drunk.
We're not trying.
We're not going to build you up. Buddy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Buttercup?
our most recent firings if we want. We will be as delicate as possible because they are very... very novel, and maybe we need another shot before we talk about this.
Maybe.
But I'll be brutally honest about mine. Right.
Look out, stomach.
Being fired.
There we go. Being fired and unemployed.
in flavor.
I feel like we should go in order of fired. So we will start with the Hobbs. Hobbs was fired last week
Yes, sir.
from his job of 6 months? 8 months?
6 months, yeah.
Alright, what happened, Hobbs? You should talk about the confrontation, too, because it's rather hysterical.
Okay, I'm very good at this. My history says this. I'm very good at knowing when I hit the realm of borrowed time at a certain job. And when I know that, I'll start fucking whoring out and pimping out my resume like a motherfucker. Just like shooting everywhere and see where it sticks.
Chumming. Just trying to
chumming.
catch the jaws.
And like, about a week before I got fired, like I had job offers and I had fucking interviews coming up and shit. I had a big issue with the owners because Grand Prairie is going to be their store. That's going to be the jewel in the crown.
And real quick, the job was fixing phones, computers.
Yeah, electronics. So I fixed a lot of shit. But like when the coronavirus hit and shit like that, I didn't appreciate how they ran it and handled it because it just made it seem like, well, you guys shut the fuck up. We don't care about you. We got to make as much money as possible. So like all the employees pretty much say, hey, this isn't right. We got to do something. They pretty much to their chagrin, and they weren't happy about it. The owners decided to go limited hours, 10 to 5, Monday through Saturday. We're off on Sundays now. Yeah, fine. I guess they were losing a lot of money, and that's when they were like, okay, we're going to give you guys masks, but we're opening back up to normal business hours. And I was like, fuck, this is going to get a lot worse. You know, I've had people come into the fucking store coughing and shit with nothing over their mouth. I was just like, right. And like, whenever we would complain, you could just tell that the owners were just like, shut the fuck up.
Right.
We don't want to hear this. We're not going to do anything about it. It got to the point where they were telling us, oh, make sure you sanitize your gloves and microwave your masks. Because we're not going to get you anymore.
Fuck you.
Microwave your mask?
Yeah.
What the fuck's that do?
To sanitize it, yeah.
Does it work?
I guess it did. I burned my first mask because like there's actually an aluminum bar in there. It's like you used to clip onto your nose and it fucking burned right through. I was like, oh shit. So that like for that week I went without a fucking mask until we got some more in. And I was just like, they could just like all my coworkers would be like, man, how you're not looking too good. Like I fucking angry. I fucking hate this place. You guys were there for these conversations and my fucking breakdowns during this shit. And then the owners essentially moved into the store full time. And that's when things got a lot worse because they just sucked the fun out of the workplace. It just sucked. And like the owner, not the chief operating officer, the owner would just be like, oh man, that's killer. Oh, that's tight. That's tight. Oh, that's just like these words like no one's ever gonna like you, bro. You gotta stop. You just gotta stop. We're never gonna be friends. I went, so Javi, man, how'd you do this weekend? You have a good weekend? Like, was it killer? I was like, it was killer. It was fucking killer.
The Superman pose when he's talking to you. He's kind of nodding his head like, what's going on, bro? Yeah.
Isn't that the same look of, yeah, I'm gonna need you to,
Yep.
Yep. The guy from Office Space.
Yeah, that's great, though. That's great. Yeah. So just come in on Saturday and everything else will be fine. But yeah, that's awesome, bro. That's super tight, bro. Tight.
Super.
But, the chief operating officer was, like, doing audits of all the work orders. And, like, there's a lot of shit that he had to give money back on, but my name's also attached to. Because when I started there, they moved my coworker that came up and trained with Sam. He was supposed to be in-store. They moved him to mobile, leaving me, the assistant manager, and the manager for in-store techs.
And the other thing is they kept promising you a manager job and taking it away.
Yep.
Yeah. And promising you a manager job and then taking it away.
Gave you
the fucking manager job. Took it away.
Endless. It was the most toxic work environment I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
It was insane.
And because the manager and assistant manager for the store did not like dealing with customers, so whenever we get a customer in, I would do the check-in. Of course my name is going to be fucking on everything here because I checked every fucking device in here in myself because these two didn't want to do it.
And once again, the front computer was under your name, so everything got checked in.
So everything was checked in, everything was checked out, all under my name. So if a repair went wrong, it looks like I fucked it up. Because the day before I got fired, I pulled the manager outside. I was like, talk to you for a minute. And he looks around, and I could just tell, like, I don't give a shit if you're scared of me. We gotta go. And like, he looks around, and he goes, well, all right, Javi, let's go all back and just have a meeting. Like, he says really loud for all the people in here.
Like a Michael Scott ass.
So, like, I can see it. Like, I open the door for him. He goes outside. He's looking for something to leave the door propped open. Well, everybody else will get a closed door meeting. He's looking for something like, I got a mop. Don't worry, I'll prop it open. So, like, I step forward. He backs up 5 feet. I take it out. He backs up. I was like, I just got right to it. I was like, if you're going to fire me, I'd rather you do it today after work this week and get started on looking for another job tomorrow.
Don't hurt me.
I'm not going to fire you.
Like, meanwhile, the whole time he's like, well, Javi, I'm not going to fire you. And he's like, back.
Don't approach me.
It's like you're a fucking hot fire. It's like, no.
So I was like, okay, so Like, oh, fine. He's not going to fire me. I was a little bit disappointed that he didn't that day. So the next one I come in...
scared the fucking shit out of him.
Dude, you're big. You don't realize it, dude. I never told Jake this. So one day, me and Javi were going to make like a lasagna or something. We were just chilling. And I'm at Aldi's picking up some food, right? And then Hobbs fucking creeps up on me. And out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, who's this big motherfucker coming at me? And I'm like, and I turn, and like he's a threatening fucking figure, right? And then I turn, and I'm like, oh, it's Javi. And then I calm down. But like at first, I was like,
he towers over you.
But here's the thing: he kept getting closer to me, and like in my space, and I was like, who is this?
I like it. Were you actually scared to look up?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was. I was like, this motherfucker right here. But then I noticed it was you, and like all my good hobby feelings came back. And I was like, oh, this is my bro. I love this guy. This is my friend. But for a second, I was like, this giant son of a bitch is gonna. I thought you were gonna bear hug me like.
I thought you were gonna beat the living shit out of me.
Yeah, dude, it was. You have an intimidating like size. Like,
if you don't know me.
Oh yeah, and I'm saying that because the second I realized it was you, I was like, ooh, I'm good. But before that, I was like,
calming
this motherfucker's gonna kill me.
across my body whenever I realized it was you.
I was like, Javi. But so you have like, as I can understand somebody being intimidated, and when you get shark-eyed, good sir, ooh,
yeah.
I like as your friend, I've seen you look at me like I fucking kill you. Like you get these eyes like fucking, like it's scary. Dude. I get it. But I also know that you're loving. I know you.
Yeah, I know. So, like, the next morning, I come in.
I hope.
So the next morning, I come into work. I don't get a good morning. Fuck! It's going to be today. So, like, all throughout this fucking day, nothing. I was like, yeah. Are they trying to get me to quit? Put my shit?
You too.
Towards the end of the shift, Javi needs you to stay back. Sit down. And he goes, well, Javi. I said, hey, I want to cut this short. Is this it? And he backs up. He had like two guys with him. And he goes, yes, Javi, it's it. I go, okay. I slap my thighs and I stand up really fast. They all take like 3 fucking feet back. He brought 2 guys in. What are they going to do? I could fucking eat these guys for breakfast if I wanted to.
Javi's lying. He's playing it down. They had MP5s with them. Like, fucking the guy was saying it had 2 fucking Desert Eagles on the desk. He's like... Yeah, he still pulled back.
Listen, Javi, you fuck my wife? You fuck my wife?
Well, like early that afternoon, I knew what was going to happen, so I had my final interview with this place that I got the job at that I start next week. And I was like, well, I really like you, and we're going to be sending you an offer letter. So I wasn't going to say shit until I got that offer letter in my email. I woke up to that offer letter. Thank you. But like, yeah, like sweating, was just trying to stand there looking fucking hard. It was like, bro, I'm not the one. It's just like sweat. Like if you're gonna be intimidated, you gotta not show that shit like that.
I'm so.
And then like was just like, I'm sorry, Javi. I was like, don't be sorry. Thank you. I shook his hand. I was like, thank you for everything. Really appreciate it. And I walked out. They just was like, that's the last look that I ever saw. They didn't just fucking say nothing. I was just like, gone.
I mean, it's a good thing. That job was fucking weird. Like I said, it was like being in a toxic relationship and just.
I mean, it was fun. I like my coworkers, but just everything.
Dude, I understand that completely. Jake.
Yeah.
So Jake got fired literally 5 minutes before I got fired.
Fired twins.
So I think it would have happened yesterday because my phone was off. I had to get my phone turned back on, so I get a Facebook message from the boss today, and it's hey Jake, call me whenever you get a chance. Okay. Hey man, what's going on? Hey, what's up? Yeah, like, oh, just calling to see what, how you doing? Blah blah blah. I was like, okay, I knew something was up. It's like, well, we shut down this place and we're doing some changes in management and everything else, and this is nothing personal, but, me and the other parties that matter decided that moving forward, like, collect your unemployment, and I hate having to tell you this, and it sucks, and call me if you need anything, but It is what it is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, that company might be downgrading.
Yeah, bums me out.
And you get to collect unemployment.
Yeah.
Which is fucking great.
Yeah.
Alright, let me tell you guys what happened to me.
Finally, after fucking 8 fucking hours,
I
we gotta do a whole shift of listening.
Alright, I work for a very prominent insurance company. I'm not going to say their name. I'm not going to say their name.
They rhyme with Blake Barn.
I will keep that in. So a couple months ago, they decided to do an audit of their employees. This was in March, I believe, they did the audit. And they decided to look through our history of interactions and come back and questioned us. So they pulled us into their regional office, which is north of Dallas.
I hate to interrupt that, but they did an audit of every interaction you had. So does that mean they actually listened to a recording of me sexually reading my credit card number to you?
I hope they did. Because Javi called me one day and he's like...
the reason why you got fired.
Yeah, I'm not even lying. Because you call me, you're like, 5, 4, and I'm like, Javi, stop. You're like, no, 3, bitch. 2. So we got called in for an audit. We didn't know what the fuck was going on. We didn't know why they were calling us in. And my boss said to me, tell them the truth. Whatever you do, tell them the truth. Which I took for, lie your ass off.
Yeah.
But I went in,
and
I did tell them the truth. When I went in, they sat me down, and I'm like, yay, let's do this. We'll be fine. And the guy comes down, and he's super professional, and he's got a suit on. He's like, nice to meet you, Dave. And I was like, nice to meet you, too. Let's do this. We go up.
Should we drink some beers before we go in?
Dude, it was total bros. So we go into the meeting room, and it's at the top of, like, the regional office. It's real fancy. And we go into the small room, and I'm like, fuck, we're in a small room. I am screwed. So they sit down, and these 2 smoking hot fucking auditors. Like, I'm talking, like, younger than me.
Auditors?
Auditors, dude. Good sir. And, like the one's got a mole right here above her titty, and I'm just like, oh, come on, let's go. So I'm thinking this is turning into a porno. Any second that part. No, I didn't think that, but I kind of did. So we go into this situation.
We need to audit your balls.
And I'm like, well, they are huge. Take your time looking, my ladies.
I'm going to liquidate my stocks.
So we sit down, and the first thing they say is, we're not going to record this. And in my back of my head, I was like, bullshit. And they're like, we have no cameras, we have no recorders here, but this person's going to take notes. And once again, I'm like, bullshit. So they start putting information in front of me. Now, the thing with the company I work for, their issue was that when we were doing auto quotes, because it's an insurance company, we were rerunning people's CRI, which means their credit rating index. So every time I would do a quote, let's say I did a quote for Jake, I put in the car, a 2020 Jaguar or whatever, and I put Jake in there, okay? And then I run that. I run the credit for Jake. Now, let's go back. At the end of the quote, Jake says to me, oh, I live with my girlfriend, Britton. She needs to be added to this quote. So I go back and I add Britton's name. As I do that, it reruns the credit for Jake and Britton. Okay, then Jake at the end of the quote says, oh, but she doesn't live with me yet. I just need it for myself. Boom. Go back, rerun the quote for the Jaguar and Jake. Reruns the credit one more time. Now, these are soft credit hits. They mean nothing. They are pennies to your credit. Problem is, many credit hits that are soft hits add up. No one ever told me this. Okay? No one. So, I'm rerunning people's credit, soft credit hits over and over and over again because they would change their mind.
Yeah.
So, as that's happening, that is affecting the company that I'm working for. Because at one point during the audit, they said, could you see how we rerun the credit could affect the integrity of this company? And I was like, yeah, that would be great if I knew it was doing that.
Right.
If I had any idea that every time I had to add somebody, remove somebody, it was doing that.
Yeah.
So, this whole meeting was about that. That very thing. Something that I had no idea was happening. So, I denied it because I'm sitting there going like, that didn't happen. I have no idea. Finally, by the end of the meeting, I was so pissed. I was like, what do you guys want me to do? I have no control over what your system does. Yeah. I have no control over this. That is not my fault. I had nothing to do with that. So, at the end of the meeting, I was like, red-faced, I'm angry as fuck. Everything that at the beginning was like, it'll be fine. I'm going like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm getting fired. I'm in trouble. You guys never told me this. I walk out of that meeting just totally like downtrodden. Right. And then my coworker walks in. He's all happy like I was before. I was like, dude, you're fucked. I said it to him with eyes. I was like, no. So I leave it and I call my boss. I'm like, dude, we're screwed. My boss says to me, super cool guy. Awesome. Great guy. Totally love this guy. He goes, you'll be fine. He gave me some comparisons to some things that were happening with other people and other companies. Yeah. It's like, it's fine. So we kind of knew we'd get the decision in May. So today, I go into work. After lunch, I go home. I tan a little bit. I go back. And I sit down. And then Jake sends the message of, guys, I just got fired. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you serious? Because it was so out of left field. Yeah. It was so random to be fired. And then I look up at my computer. I get on a phone call. With a very difficult customer. I can barely understand them, work through it because I'm a fucking beast at my job. Of course. Get on the phone call and I see Skype pop up because we have Skype in the office and my boss says, please come back to my office once you're done. And I'm like, okay. And then for a second, I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? Then I look back and I noticed that my coworker, who also got called in for that meeting, his office, he is not in it, and the lights are off, and I'm like, fuck, I'm getting fired. So I walk back to the office, and I walk in, and I go, hey, you're about to fire me, let's fucking do this, alright. I was super pumped about it, and I was like, alright, and I sit down, and he starts laughing, and I was like, alright, let's do it, go ahead and fire me, let's see what happens. And he's like, dude, he goes, my heart's ripping in half, he goes, my chest hurts, and you're making me laugh right now. I'm like, it's fine, don't even worry about it. So what are we going to do? Because I knew, based upon what they did, and he told me they fired everyone, every single person they called in for that audit meeting, they fired in the company. Regardless of what they said during that meeting, anything, they fired every single person. Here's the kicker. It was random. Supposedly, it was random for who they brought in. They could have brought in anyone else in my office.
Wow.
I might not have got called in. And that's what's so funny, because my boss is great. He's an amazing person.
Yeah.
The company itself decided to throw everyone else under the bus. And I will say this right now. That company, in 6 months, you're going to see that come out. And you're also going to see their bank products. They did bank loans. They had to sell all their bank loans last month. Out of the blue.
Doesn't sound like they're in good hands.
Exactly. They're not such a great neighbor, are they? Exactly. With that said, I have been fired, but my boss is super cool, so he has worked out something for me. And it's going to be okay, and I think for you guys it's going to be okay too. Javi's got a job already lined up. Hopefully it's going to come through next week.
I'm hoping.
Jake,
I'm good. I'm not worried about it right now. I mean, it's a little shocking at first, but you know what? Fuck it. It is what it is. I'll figure out something. I was looking for a job whenever I found this one.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And for me, same thing. I'll figure out something. I feel like my boss said to me today, he goes, you should not be in this business. He goes, You should be pursuing the things that you love, which is the arts. You should be pursuing your podcast and making videos and things that you enjoy.
All things happen for a reason.
Exactly. And regardless, we talked about it earlier. We think that the coronavirus is the reason behind this. There was, how many people you said that Britain's mom said people got fired today. You know what I mean?
There's something going on where there's a mass firing today, I believe.
Right.
A lot of companies had to cut costs.
Exactly. Because
they're trying to reopen for business.
Texas is reopening right now for business, and evidently people had to cut.
I don't know this. I mean, I believe in that. I am a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not going to say this is for fact. I'm just some that I heard. I've heard other people being let go today, and it just seems kind of weird that it's all coming down.
Right.
You know,
right before the state reopens, which is the 18th, I believe, or the 15th, 15th or the 18th.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
So, if you got fired today, all we're going to say is there's light at the end of the tunnel, and things are going to work out, and just be cool. And
or if not, when this place starts to burn down, just enjoy the show.
Also, Mad Max has shit.
Yeah, or just go get in touch with some people that actually have the COVID, and go to the place that you got fired from, and just go in there and have a nice conversation with them, shake their hands, and cough in their face or whatever else. Yeah, just give one of those.
I think that this
welcome them to the
that's only if you're feeling kind of vengeful,
a little bit vindictive, if you will. I've been saying over and over again, this COVID thing for me, and I feel like the same way with you guys. This is like somebody pulling an arrow back on a bow and arrow and preparing to let it go. And so I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
Because once this shit is over, I'm going to be off like a shot. And so will you guys.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is going to take off like a shot.
Right.
So I have strong faith in us. And they're going to change, but we'll fucking roll with it.
I'm not that worried about it.
Yeah. And
we'll figure it out.
How about you, Hobbs?
Huh?
You worried?
A little bit.
Fuck you, Javi. You'll be fine. We're going to work through it.
Well,
we're going to work
we'll
through
all support each other.
We're going to be fine. We're going to kill this shit. So, hoorah!
Hurrah!
But with that said, this has been Duck, and I have been here with
Jake.
And
the unemployed hub.
And support your local comics because we might be them soon.
Huzzah! Huzzah! Excelsior!
And thank you so much for listening.
Love you!
Love y'all.
And there it is. Yep, we got fired. There's no denying that. But we had a blast talking about it. If you have enjoyed the podcast today, please head on over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give us a like. And if you have a chance, check out the other podcast on the We Are Podcast Network. We have Heroes, Gyros, a Dungeons and Distraction side quest where me and the boys, we're playing some D&D and we're having a good time. Also, We Are Bagu, a video game podcast. That's me and Dr. Ethan Eastwood talking all that video game lore. And finally, I Hate Being Sober. That is a podcast about personal stories from epic people, where I sit down with some of my favorite people on the planet and we talk about their life, we talk about their trials and tribulations, or we just talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about. It's a great podcast. You're going to love it. Once again, head on over to our social media, newly branded to We Are Podcast, Facebook, Instagram at /We Are Podcast. And if you enjoyed this, share with your friends. It's the only way we're going to get the podcast out there. With that said, don't forget to support your local comedy in any way that you can. Until next time, I'll see ya.